Right, I'm going to show the comparison here. So this one is not pressed, and then we've got the other side which is pressed, and you can see how crisp and how well that is sitting. So that obviously is going to be a lot easier to turn. So if we put that underneath, it's actually self-guiding when it's pressed, so you have to actually put less effort into it, which is basically what you want. You don't want to be. Every time you actually get into the sewing, lower the needle with hand rather than putting your foot down. And most of the time what happens is, if you don't do it by hand and if you just put your foot down, your thread will end up coming out. The machine will run away, the fabric will push along, so lots of mistakes will happen. So a couple of things to bear in mind. First of all, make sure your fabric is positioned right. Okay. Lift the foot up, place the fabric underneath. When it's positioned right, lower the needle before pressing on the pedal to get the machine going. Also, you want the fabric slightly pushed towards the back. Okay, and keep your finger there so that the fabric is always, you're pushing the fabric towards the back rather than the machine pushing the fabric forward. What will happen with that is, once the machine gets going, the foot will actually drag the fabric, and if you're not guiding the fabric backwards as well, you will end up getting a slight bit of a unevenness in the fabric, and that actually, as the machine keeps going, that unevenness will grow. Okay, so that's just guidance on handling the machine. Now when you're actually sewing, push any threads towards the back. Every time you try and come to a stop, make sure that the needle is actually penetrated in. That so that your fabric is held in place, and if you don't do that, what will happen is your fabric will move away, and then you're fidgeting about trying to place the fabric right again. So every time you come to a stop with the machine needle down. Some machines will have an automatic function that you can press a button and you can always have the needle down, or you can always have the needle up. On this one, we do, every time we come to a stop, the machine needle will always be down. I have a function underneath here somewhere where I can press a button and it will always stay up. Okay. Also, if you're working on a domestic machine, that will not work the same as the industrial one. You will need to manually lift the lever up. So I operate this with the foot. Sometimes it's operated with the side of the leg, and on small and domestic machines, it's either a lever here. I mean, this has a lever here as well, but I prefer to operate it with the foot, as it's a lot easier. So we're actually just guiding. Also, when you're sewing, your focus should be on the needle and where that's penetrating. You're not looking around anywhere else. You're just looking at the foot where it's taking, and where the needle is penetrating. And if you keep focused on that, there's absolutely no reason why, that you shouldn't have a straight line. Okay, so in comparison to that, the other side, I haven't pressed it. I will still sew this, but you'll be able to actually see the difference yourself. Also, you have to put more effort, and you have to constantly keep on pulling and making it right in order to guide it through. Whereas if it's pressed, it's self-guiding, and you have to put less effort in. And ultimately, you want to apply as little effort as possible into your sewing. And that will give you, if you're in charge, that will make you feel a lot better, and it'll make you want to come back to it. If you're not in charge of the machine, you'll want to leave it and you won't want to continue. Now the second stitching that we're doing, again we're doing it on the right side, and a couple of things that you can do to, there was a guide here. I'm just going to show what that guide does. I don't know where it's disappeared. I think one of the kids have probably gone off with it. It's like a magnet, yeah. And what you do with the magnet, I have no idea where it's gone. It was here attached to the machine up till yesterday, but the kids must have got to it. Well, what you do with the magnet is you can actually put it on the outer side, and then when you've got this, the magnet, you just let it guide. Okay, but I know many of you won't have the magnets, right? What you can do is you can put a piece of tape there, the width of where that seam wants to go, and then you can guide against that tape. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So this is 1.5 inches. So what you can do is put a tape, just a tape there, or a mark there, and then you can let the fabric guide against that, and that way it will stop unevenness and you won't actually falter. You can actually feel for it, you can actually see it slightly as well, because the bukram is slightly indented and you can see where. Okay, so here again you want the fabric slightly pushed towards the back, because otherwise, can you see, if I let the machine go in its own pace, you would end up getting that. We want to avoid that. So in order to eliminate that, we're constantly, pushing the fabric backwards. But this is pressed, so it's a lot easier. There's normally a problem. So even